everybody again. My name is Pavel Mraz, I'm from mySASY, and today I will talk a little bit more about autonomic nervous system. It is the second topic what we have in our videos. The first one was the general adaptation syndrome, and now we are going for autonomic nervous system, which is very important to understand when you would like to measure HRV and when you would like to use HRV for successful training. So first of all, you need to understand that autonomic nervous system is a basic communication unit for your central system, or actually the most important part of your body, which is helping your body to recover or to activate itself. The autonomic nervous system is responsible for your body survival and for keeping your body in a balanced state. When your autonomic nervous system is disharmonized, it also causes civilization diseases, etc., etc. So it's very important to have it strong and to have it balanced. The autonomic nervous system is divided to two branches. One is called parasympathetic and the other is called sympathetic. I will talk a little more about each branch. But before that, I will tell you something more about the HRV. HRV, and this is very important information. We have a lot of people who are talking about HR, means the heart rate, but HRV is not heart rate, it's heart rate variability. Heart rate variability is different metric. Heart rate itself, it's only the number of beats which you can have within time period, for example 1 minute. So it's number of beats. But heart rate variability is the metric which is, we can say, looking on the differences between each beat, and the length between each beat is very important, because there you can see the activity of autonomic nervous system, because autonomic nervous system is connected with both branches to your heart, and it is trying, one of the branch is trying to keep it more silent and to keep it more calm, and the other branch is trying to keep it more active, to keep the body, to beat, to make the heart beat fast, you know. And when we are looking at the HRV, you are looking at the differences between each beats, because the variability means that there are a lot of differences. It's not like when you have 1 minute of heartbeats. It's not, if you have 60 minutes, 60 heartbeats per minute, it doesn't mean that every second there is one beat. It's always, there are a lot of differences, and these differences are not chaotic. It's not like sometimes it beats, it's just there is frequency or there is a change, and the change is very important, and the change is called, or this is the key metric for our heart rate variability. So what we are looking at is the change itself. We are not looking at the beats, we are looking at the change. And we are comparing how frequent the change is, how big the change is, how wide is the range between each beats, etc., etc. So this is the heart rate variability. And now I would like to tell you more about the branches of autonomic nervous system. The first one, the most common, most known actually, is called the parasympathetic. The parasympathetic branch is responsible for resting and digesting, for relaxation and feeding and breathing. It means that it is responsible for calming you down. It's very strong during night because it is trying to regenerate all the body and to recover, etc., etc. And this parasympathetic part is actually pretty easy to measure. So when you are measuring HRV, you can measure it also with other kind of applications, or you can use also different types of HRV measurements. But the strength of this is very important for many people, because this is actually the most important thing, where if you are regenerated enough or not. The problem comes when you are talented athlete or when you are overtrained athlete, because a lot of these people are not, that doesn't have the high dynamics in parasympathetic part of the autonomic nervous system. Their dynamics is very, actually not that big. I cannot say weak, because parasympathetic can be very strong, but it might be strong every time. And if it is strong every time, there is not enough changes to evaluate. And then when you are measuring only the parasympathetic part of the autonomic nervous system, your information will be really, like, there will be really small information there. And you cannot also be so sure to follow only parasympathetic, because if you see in our graph, and you can see this is the graph of mySASY, and in the graph there it's 2D graph, because on the horizontal line you can see the strength of parasympathetic, and on the vertical line you can see the sympathetic activity. And the parasympathetic, when you are on the right side, you can see that your parasympathetic is always very strong. It's over average. And the key information here is, if you are not measuring the sympathetic, and you have, for example, these results up here and this result down here, you can see that your parasympathetic is the same state. It's somewhere here like 8, 8.5 or something like that. But your sympathetic is deactivated here, which means supercompensation, and activated here, which means that you are in decompensation and you need to recover or something like that. So this is very important to understand, that if you only know the parasympathetic part, you will only have really small information if you are well trained, or if you are a pro athlete, or if you are a talented person. But it is very easy to measure, because the parasympathetic can be seen in HRV by high frequency information, and these high frequencies can be seen also with the time domain method, where you have, for example, 1 minute of measurement, and during the 1 minute we are looking only at the RMSSD, which means actually the difference between the changes and its appearance there. I've already mentioned the other branch of autonomic nervous system, which is sympathetic, and this is actually very important too, and I've mentioned several things before. And key information here is that mySASY is focused on dividing these two branches during the analysis, and so we are actually one of the few, maybe only one product on the market which can measure the sympathetic part of the autonomic nervous system with the highest preciseness possible. So the sympathetic part of the autonomic nervous system is responsible for flight or fight effect. It is responsible for activation of your body. When you are starting the training, your sympathetic should grow up. It should be much more active than parasympathetic. In normal physiological state, these two are antagonists. So when you have the sympathetic activity high, your parasympathetic activity should be lowered down. And it can go opposite way also. What we have discovered when we are dividing these two branches is that sometimes it goes together, and this is kind of a pathophysiological process, which we can also discuss in other videos later on. But it is very important for many athletes, because it cannot be measured by RMSSD and time domain. So if you're measuring HRV, it's very difficult to measure the sympathetic activity, to be honest, because the sympathetic activity, and I'll show you on the next screen, has the longer wave here. It's much longer than you saw in the parasympathetic part, so it means that you need more time to measure it. It used to take 5 minutes or 15 minutes to measure the metric, so you can compare the parasympathetic and sympathetic, and you can recognize which one is stronger or how they are working together. But and this is the spectral analysis of heart rate variability, the method which can divide these two branches and can show them separately. I will talk about it later on also, when I will have the video according to two most common HRV measurements or methods for measuring HRV. So when you have the sympathetic activity, well, I've mentioned already that if you have the parasympathetic activity very strong, you can focus on the activity of sympathetic, and when it is deactivated, you are in supercompensation, and when it is active, you are more in decompensation, in a state of body when you need to do some active regeneration or something to get back on the track. So recognition of the strength of separate branches of autonomic nervous system can be very, very useful for developing effective training, and it can be very essential if you would like to improve, especially when you are overtraining or if you are a talented person. You can also using these parameters to avoid overtraining or to come back again on track when you are stagnating. More about that is here in these points, where we are mentioning all the benefits when you are measuring the HRV, or maybe not all of them, but the most important from our point of view. So you can deeply see the reaction of you or your athletes' reactions. And this is very important, especially for coaches when they would like to see the athlete from the distance. When they are not with them, for example, when they are traveling somewhere in the camp or competitions, so you can see their body reaction on the distance. You can become able to break the stagnation, or if it occurs, it's very nice to know that you can break from stagnation sometimes, and I think that you can also use it for improvement. You will not miss a day of supercompensation, or you will not miss a day when your capacity, your body have real lack of capacity, and there are many external factors which are affecting it. You can develop also regenerating strategies when you are using HRV, because you can confirm the adaptation reaction after the training and regeneration together, and you can understand whether the regeneration strategies are working well to your body, or you need to improve in regeneration strategies too. And finally, you can avoid overtraining or get the body real feedback when you need to get out of it. So when you would like to get out of overtraining, you need to have a precise measurement, and that's actually the goal of mySASY, what we are going to provide to you. Next video will be about the methods, the most common methods, how you can measure HRV, or what is used for measure HRV mostly. And I hope this video was interesting for you, and we will be glad if you will follow and you will look at other videos. See you. Bye.